Hello, my Teaserking family. How is everybody today? I would think you'd be pretty happy with Indiana coming back. I didn't watch much of the game, but I see the score at the end and I go, oh, 27-17. And I look at the box score and we were down 27-3 with a minute and a half left. And we score, I guess, onside kick and we score again. And we cover it. But the question is, where was it the whole game that they didn't score? Why did they, with the minute left, score 2 touchdowns? Where was that the whole game? So I was surprised Indiana didn't do much. It looks like Notre Dame, I guess, tried to just run the ball, keep it away from them. I watched the highlights, but yeah, very strange game. So anyway, we win. We had 13. I don't buy Indiana didn't play anybody. I just maybe they just aren't used to that moment when they played Ohio State and when they played this game. They hadn't been there before, and I think that takes a lot into it. Anyway, that's our first bowl W. We have 13.5. I did like the game under also, but I thought it'd be under, but I thought the 13.5 was a better play. The under was a better play, obviously, but we won anyway. So that's 1 down, 3 to go. Let's look at the 3 games today. So we start off with, I got to get to college. Now, I played all 3. I've locked one of these games. We'll start off Penn State 8.5, 52.5. This was 54. If you bought from me, I did add a play this morning. I've added 1 pro play this morning also. So this is now 8 and 52.5. You can get an 8 and 52.5. Not sure why the number's going down. I don't know when either team got a defense. Let's go through the stats. Both teams are 8 teams. SMU with the 21 defense, Penn State with the 16. And if we look at the 2 real games Penn State played, they lose to Ohio State. Hey, morning, Alex. Lose to Ohio State 20-13, which really should have been 27-20. Howard, the Ohio State quarterback, fumbled at the 1 going in, and then the Penn State guy, if he could catch the ball, would have scored a touchdown in the end zone. Turned into an interception. It was a great interception, but should have been a touchdown. What is that? Anyway, so that's what you have there. You sure you're not interested in the pros, Alex? I got 4 or 5 locks going. Just FYI. So let's look what's going on here. Weather is 26-27 with some strong winds. Okay. And 26 with winds. All right, so let's take that play out. I'm going to make an adjustment. I'm going to delete that. I want. Yeah, there's my bitch. All right, so there's just one SMU play. All of a sudden, the wind got in there. So with 18, 20 mile an hour winds, it's usually more of an under game than an over. Injuries, wide receiver Bailey's out for SMU, Knighton the running back out, Maryland a tight end out, and Wheaton another running back. So they got two running back, a tight end. No, two running backs, a tight end, and a wide receiver out for SMU. Penn State, they got their injuries too. A lot of questionables. D tackle out, D end out, O lineman out. So I still like the over, but I don't like it as much with the wind. So it'll be Jennings going against Eller, quarterback-wise. So Eller against Oregon, they lost 45-37. 20-39, 226 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. He ran a lot in the game, which is unusual. Jennings against Clemson threw the ball 50 times, 31 of 50, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick, 304 yards. Normally they throw it about 30 times a game against BC, against Virginia, against Cal, he was 20 of 30. So that's more what he gets about 275 a game, but not throwing it 50 times. He does get intercepted. He's a good quarterback. They can still get the over, but it's we'll see how the wind affects it. Again, they're in a bowl, so it's not like where the field's right on and the wind gets to it. All right, Texas is up to 13.5 from 11.5. And over under of 50.5. I have played this game. Let's take a look at it. Let's look at the weather. This game's in Texas. It's clear, very low wind, 62 degrees. So weather will be perfect for the game. Injuries, we got Clemson, running back out, linebacker out, O-lineman out, cornerback out, wide receiver out, 2 more O-linemen's out. So they got 3 O-linemen out, which has probably hurt Indiana yesterday, but you don't want linemen out against Texas. Texas has this strong, strong defense. Texas, wide receiver, Bond, doubtful, DB out, running back out, and the 2 running backs that were out in like the spring or in the summer. So they've been out. So we've got a new running back out and a wide receiver out. Stat-wise, Clemson beats SMU 34-31, lost to Georgia Tech 17-14, lost to Louisville 33-21, and we know they lost to Georgia 33-3. I don't think Clemson has any chance at all in this game. The South Carolina game, 17-14, is probably they'll be lucky to get 14, I think, on Texas here. They beat Pitt. They beat the Citadel. Ooh, wow. Virginia Tech, Virginia, Wake, Florida State, Stanford. So they had an easy schedule. Talk about a team that didn't beat anybody. You beat Stanford, Florida State, Wake, Virginia. You play Louisville, your tough team, and lose. You beat Virginia Tech, who doesn't have their quarterback, Pitt, who stinks. The one game you play, South Carolina, you lose. and you lost to Louisville. And then you get lucky to even be in the conference title. You got 3 losses. I don't know why they're in the playoffs. I don't know why it's an automatic bid for the ACC champ to win. I don't get that part. So not really good, leaving Ole Miss out, not Alabama, but you left some BYU out for Clemson. All right, let's look at Texas. They lose to their one main loss, the one matchup at Georgia, 30-15 and 22-19. That's their only loss twice. They beat a good A&M team. Florida, they beat when everybody was hurt. They beat my Vanderbilt team by 3. They kill Oklahoma 34-3, not like Alabama. Otherwise, Florida was injured. Arkansas, 20-10. A&M, 17-7. So you can see the defense is really strong. Georgia gets 30 on them, but it was a lot of turnovers. Georgia, I think, had a couple of pick sixes or some really strong turnovers. But here's the difference. They beat Oklahoma 34-3, and Alabama loses to them 27-3. What the fuck? Quarterback Klubik, 24-41 against SMU, 24-36 against South Carolina. You only score 14 points. You throw the ball 36 times for 280 yards, no touchdowns, and 1 pick. That's ridiculous. Forget Citadel. And then we got, against Pitt, 27-41. 288 yards, and against VTech, 16-34 for 211 yards. What the fuck is that? 16-34 for 211 yards against VTech. Now let's look at yours. 19-27, 330 yards against Florida, who was beaten up. Arkansas, 20-32 for 176. 20-31 against Kentucky for 191. Texas A&M, 17-28 for 218. And then against Georgia in the loss, 27-46 for 358 with 1 touch and 2 picks. So, this is what you see. It's a lot of little dump-offs, right? 20-31 against Kentucky for 191. What is that? That's what you're dealing with here. So I think this is going to be lower scoring, and I think Texas beats the shit out of them. 13.5 now. It's a tough number, but because you got to lay 7.5. I got a feeling Texas is going to win by a good 20 points, and I don't know if Clemson will score in the game. They're going to have a tough time with this defensive line, especially if they got 3 offensive linemen out. So hook 'em horns there. In their last game, Ohio State, 7.5, 46.5. That's about where it's been. This hasn't moved. Tennessee, 18 with a 14 defense. Ohio State, 18 with an 11 defense. Ohio State chokes to Michigan again for the 4th straight time. It's unbelievable because Michigan sucked this year. Let's look at injuries. Tennessee, a lot of questionables. Only 2 out, a linebacker and a DB. They were out early. So lately, everybody's questionable, but believe me, they're going to play. Ohio State, they've lost their 2 key offensive linemen has been their problem. Simmons, who's like All-American's been out since October. And then it's a couple of wide receivers I never heard of and a tight end I've never heard of. They're questionable. Not an issue. Weather, it's going to be partly cloudy. This is tonight. It's going to be 26 degrees. Not a lot of wind, 5-mile-an-hour wind, so you're not going to get into the wind chill. Tennessee's fine in the cold weather. I mean, Tennessee gets cold weather, and Ohio State. If anything, it hurts Ohio State because Tennessee's really a defensive team, and they're going to run Samson down their throat, where Ohio State's more of a passing team with Ibaka and that little kid from Florida. They keep making a big deal that he's 17. I don't know why he's even in college at this point. What are they, bypassing high school to go jump in college and get NIL money? This is a big problem, this NIL. So let's see. Let's look at the quarterback. Amala Vila, better as a volleyball player. I don't like this cross thing against Georgia. They lose 31-17. 20 of 33 for 167 yards, probably sacked 20 times. No touches, no interceptions. So you can see against a good team, 167. That score was 31-17. Against Old Mississippi, Old Mississippi State, he was 8 of 13 for 174. Against Kentucky, he was 28 of 38 for 292. Against UTEP, 17 of 23 for 209. Who cares? Against Vanderbilt, this is the rivalry game, 18 of 26 for 257, 4 touchdowns. That's against a weak defense. But Dagio Pava. We look at Will Howard against Michigan, 19 of 33 for 175 and 2 picks. He got chokitis. Against Indiana, it was 22 of 26 for only 200 yards, 2 touches and an interception. Against Northwestern, 15 of 24, 247. And against the weakest team in the conference, Purdue. Well, let's look at the Penn State game, the Purdue game. Who cares? Against Penn State, 16 of 24 for $182, 2 touches and an interception. So the 2 big games, they win 20-13 and lose 13-10 to Michigan. Enough said. So we looked at Tennessee. Let's see. They beat Oklahoma 25-15. Everybody beats Oklahoma but Alabama. Unbelievable. They lose to Arkansas 19-14. I have no idea. Probably flat from the Oklahoma game. Then they beat Florida, who was pretty healthy but not as good as they are. They beat Alabama 24-17. Kentucky 28-18. Georgia, they lose to at Georgia 31-17. Good ball game. And then they beat Vandy 36-23. So pretty good, again, defensively. 15 to Oklahoma, 17 to Florida, 17 to Alabama, 14 to Old Mississippi State, who can score. Georgia gets 31 on them. And then Vandy gets 23 on them. So overall, is outstanding defense. And the quarterback is a volleyball player. I mean, what else can you say? In the meantime, Ohio State gives up 13 to Michigan and loses. Beats Indiana on some punt returns. That score was 17-15, not 38-15. 7 to Northwestern, shuts out Purdue. 13 to Penn State, who looked really explosive against Oregon. 17 to Nebraska, 32 at Oregon. Iowa gets 7, Michigan State 7, and Marshall 14, who actually was a very good team, Marshall. All their players transferred. It was unbelievable. They're not in the bowl game because they all transferred. So again, you have a lot of low-scoring games. The Oregon game 32, and that after that it's 15 by Indiana, 13 by Michigan, and a loss, 2 losses, and a beat of Iowa 35-7 and Penn State 20-13, which could have been 27-20. Is what it should have been. So again, I'm not sure Ohio State deserves to be in a playoff. When you lose to Michigan, who was very weak this year, give them credit for Penn State, not for Nebraska, and then losing at Oregon and beating Iowa. So You don't know. The game's at home. It's cold but not windy, so we will see. I have played this game. I've played all my games. All three of these games I've played. So we will see. So it starts at noon, but it's weird. It's on TNT, and I don't think I get TNT. I don't know why it's not on Fox or CBS. I thought it was the pro games, but are the pro games on Fox and CBS, or are they on? Oh no, that's Netflix is on Christmas Day. Okay, so that's why the pros are on. I was wondering where the hell is that? All right, so let's just focus on these three games. Tomorrow we do have Coastal Carolina UTSA. UTSA is up to 10 and 56, and most of the Coastal Carolina teams not playing. That's why the line went from 8 to 10.5. But McCowan is for UTSA. We love him, the quarterback. He got cooking about middle of the season, and they just blew everybody out, although they did lose to the Army 29-24. I was watching some of that Army Navy game on YouTube. I couldn't understand where the hell Army went. You killed Tulane, you beat UTSA, and you lose to Navy on some really like you made Horwath look good. So I don't know there. Fresno State, real quick, 3-40. Fresno State, Mikey Keene's out. He's transferring. I don't know why he's transferring. I think they're getting a new coach or something. So a lot of players are out for Fresno State. And you go, aha, I'll bet Northern Illinois. No, you're not, because their quarterback and half their team is transferring. This is the problem with this transfer portal so early. I mean, half the guys, especially these lower guys, you think are safe. Nobody's going in the pros. No, they're all they're all like getting promoted. They're going from Northern Illinois to Texas Tech or something like that. So that's I put lemon in my coffee. Interesting. So again, um, Ron wanted to buy the playoffs, not all the bowl games. I said, well, I give them all. So whatever, I gave it. And he says, well, at least I know who's playing. And I go, yes, but there are advantages. Like we played the other game, we played, well, like Tulane didn't play, like Cal Vegas. We hit that one because we knew the Cal quarterback was out and the backup was out. So sometimes there's a benefit if you know some key players are out for one team but not the other. Then it's a steal. So it's not always bad because we do have the information on this on actionnetwork.com. Action Network, and it shows you the tracker. So it shows you. Let me refresh. So like today's game, Clemson. Here's Clemson. A couple guys going out, and most of them aren't. I mean, it's more on like for teams like Tennessee, it's mostly like backups. So these guys are doing the transfer and they're not practicing with Tennessee, but it's nobody important. Maybe this one wide receiver and a linebacker, but these are second or third stringers. So here you get to Coastal Carolina UTSA, and you see both quarterbacks that Coastal used this year are in the portal. There are only freshmen on the roster. Head coach said redshirt freshman will probably be the starter. And, so I bet UTSA because their guys fine. I mean, UTSA just has a few guys, and some injuries, but that's it. I mean, their quarterback's playing. That's what we want. So that's the key to the play. That's why I took UTSA there. But you have all the games here, so you read it, and pretty much I don't know when they had to go. Now I don't know if like Michigan's guys, they're already Loveland's out, the cornerbacks out, and the two defensive linemen that are like high draft picks are all. It says they're all out now. Will some others go out? I don't know. The quarterback needs to play because he sucks. But that's where you get this. So just that. All right, let's go through NFL weather, and then we'll go through NFL. So here we got like Buffalo, KC. It's clear and 33, no wind, and Mahomes is playing. So they want to wrap up the 1 seed, KC. I have played KC. Baltimore Pitt, it's 33, snow, 19 miles an hour, wind. Scattered snow showers before 7 p.m., partly cloudy with a low around 18, northwest winds 8 to 15. So it's not as windy as they're saying. 19-mile-an-hour winds here, they're saying 8 to 15, and scattered snow showers, but it's before 7. So it's not, I don't know what this 33 in snow is, but it's not a 19-mile-an-hour winds. That's not, according to what it says in there, it isn't. And it says snow before 7. Here we got snow yesterday in the morning. I assume it's there now. It just lasted an hour or two. It wasn't heavy, and it's not cold out. So there you go with that. Does that make the game an under? Yeah, if it was 20-mile-an-hour winds the whole game, yes, but I don't think that's what it is. So that'd be a Derrick Henry day because you can't, Lamar can't throw anyway in a dry, sunny day. Cleveland, Cincinnati, 32 and clear, 3-mile-an-hour winds at Cincinnati. Joe Burrow. Atlanta's in a dome. Chicago, slight chance, freezing drizzle, 15-mile-an-hour. Look at that. I've never seen this before. To be determined. What is that? It's hysterical. So I'm not sure what TBD weather means. 31 degrees, 15-mile-an-hour winds, partly sunny. Partly sunny with a high near 32. South wind 5 to 15 with gusts as high as 25. All right. So, this is, I stayed away from this over because of that, and because I can't trust Caleb to score in the game. So 15-mile-an-hour winds, that won't really affect Detroit. They played well in the Green Bay game with the rain. I don't think the wind will bother them. In these in the dome, the JETSs, 24 and clear, 10-mile-an-hour winds. Stafford against Rodgers, which should be a good game. Philly, Washington, 29 and clear, 6-mile-an-hour winds. And the game is in Washington. Carolina, Arizona, Carolina, 40 degrees. It's clear, 3-mile-an-hour winds, so no weather issue there. Minnesota, Seattle is going to be 50 degrees and rain, 7-mile-an-hour. And it looks like it's going to rain the whole rain, mostly cloudy with a low around 46. The southeast wind 8 to 12 mile an hour with gusts as high as 20. Yeah, but you can't bet the gust. I mean, that's going to come in and out. And all these stadiums, there's the crowd around it. So do they even feel the wind? Chance of rain is 100%. New rainfall amounts between 1/4 and 1/2 inch possible. So it's going to rain and only get 1/4 inch. But it's 50 with 7-mile-an-hour wind and rain. So be careful in that one. New England and Buffalo. It's a sunny day in Buffalo, 12 degrees, no wind. Jacksonville and Oakland. It's in a dome. San Francisco, Miami. It's 74. Possible rain, not much if it does rain. 74 and a little bit of wind, not much. Dallas, Tampa is in the dome, and New Orleans, Green Bay. In Green Bay, 30 degrees, which is very warm, mostly cloudy, 3-mile-an-hour wind. You're not going to have a wind problem. You ain't going to have a snow problem in Green Bay. So the only places that it's really affected is Buffalo's cold. Minnesota, Seattle is going to rain, but I don't know how much. Carolina's sunny, Washington sunny, the Jets are sunny. The Detroit looks like slight chance of freezing drizzle because it's 31 and wind maybe 5 to 15 miles an hour. But again, you're in the stadium, so the wind hits the stadium. It doesn't really get involved in the play very much, more on field goals and punts. But if they're just throwing the ball, the wind doesn't get over the wall and hit it. The stadium protects it. Cincinnati, clear 32, and Baltimore Pitt, I guess a chance of snow, but 33. So you're not snowing at 33, and up to 19-mile-an-hour winds, but not there. And then KC's 33 and clear. So the Pitt game could get some snow, but these are strong defensive teams. Well, Baltimore isn't even a strong defensive team anymore. All right, so that's your weather. Let's go to our odds. Let's look at odds and injuries. So KC 3.5, 42.5 today. So I bet all the bowl games, all the playoff games today. I do have a lock. So I hit Indiana in 13.5, and then I've got SMU Penn State. I played it, and Texas Clemson. I played it, and then we've got Ohio State, Tennessee. I played it. So one of them's a lock, and played a couple. The others just one players. They're not ideal. I just have the feel on one of the games, the lock. KC 3.5, 42.5. That number really hasn't changed. Houston, an under team, 21 defense. Stroud, 12-2 in a teaser. Kansas City, a B team with a 19 defense. Mahomes is playing and played against Houston, 12-2. So Houston plays close games. Kansas City at home plays close games. They're probably like 8-2, and they win, and but they win, so KC will probably win by 7 here. So you can play Houston and win, and you can play KC and win. That's the way KC plays it. Mahomes pulls them out at the end. Apparently his high ankle sprain isn't that severe, or maybe he's got a healing cure with the castor oil that I use. I don't know. Let's check the injuries. Houston, carload of injuries. Mechie, wide receiver, out. Stover, tight end, out. Mixon, running back, injured ankle, out, but he hasn't played in a while. The other receiver they must have got back. I thought they had another receiver out. KC, Connor, a DB, out with a concussion. I don't know. Mahomes isn't even on the injured list. And Harrison Butler, the kicker, Buckner, is out. Well, he says injured with the knee, but I don't think he's playing. So really not much in the injury thing. And let's see what the weather says here. Yeah. All right. So that's that game. KC needs it for the 1 seed, and Houston needs it because they're winning their division by 2 games and wants to lock it up so that Indy can't catch them. So it's like a playoff game, and it's in Kansas City, and we know what happens when it's Mahomes in a playoff game. Pitt and Baltimore. Baltimore 7-44, up from 6.5. Over under 44.5. I initially liked this game over, but I got off of the over. Little bit of weather, but I liked it a different way. Matchup. Let's look at the weather here. Here it says partly cloudy and 33 degrees with a lot of wind. So there'll definitely be wind. Injuries, Pittsburgh, safety out. Fields is out. Who cares? George Pickens. I don't get it. Like, he's not even that good, but I'm sure they have other receivers on Pittsburgh. TJ Watt is playing, and that's about it. Baltimore. Aguilar's questionable with concussion. Let's see. Cornerback out, never heard of. So just a bunch of Bateman, I thought was out with the foot. Well, his foot was in a cast, so I don't know how healthy he's going to be. So they got Bateman. I thought they had 2 receivers down today. Anyway, let's look at head-to-head. Head-to-head, Pitt won 18-16. Baltimore won in Baltimore 7. Pittsburgh's won the last 4 and 8 out of the last 9. Mahomes is 1-4 against them. Baltimore's only wins 16-14 and 22-23. Pitt wins 16-13, 17-10. And 24. Well, I guess this is a playoff game. No, I don't know what this is. Pitt wins in Baltimore January 6th. 17-10, and then Pitt wins 18-16. So Pitt won 8 out of 9, all close games, fairly low scoring, and 16-4. So I think I was going to go over because Baltimore is an over team, but looking at the 18-16 score, the first time, that was really the only time Baltimore hasn't scored, has been on Baltimore played Pitt, and when they played Philly. Teams that's just shut Lamar down. So that's why I got off of the over. I trust Russell Wilson, and I don't trust Lamar. All right. Atlanta, 8.5, 43 against the Giants. Up from 42. It's Penix time. Penix against Locke. So it's Stroud against Mahomes, Russell Wilson against Lamar. Now we got Locke against Penix. It's not even close. Giants are a Z team with the 24 defense. Play against Atlanta, 12-2. You've got to take that off because that's not with Penix. However, play against the Giants, 12-2. We can play. I've made Atlanta an over team with the 24 defense. The Giants are a Z team with the 24. Penix much better than Locke. I did initially have this game under with Cousins. I think they cut Cousins actually. They said, "Yeah, you kind of suck," which we knew before. I don't understand. He sucks at Minnesota with Jefferson, and now what do you think? And he's coming off the Achilles. At what point do you think he's good? At what stage has he shown he's good? Not at Michigan State, not with the Redskins, not with Minnesota. I didn't understand why they signed him. Darnold's better than him. So I didn't understand it, but I thought the Penix draft was very smart, the best quarterback in the draft. So you're going to see – now, you might not see it tomorrow or Sunday. Yeah, tomorrow because it's his first game. All right, probably play 2 deep zone if the Giants are smart enough to do that. Try to pressure him, but he can handle all that. He's the superstar, so you'll see that. Maybe not next week, but down the pike. by the end of the year. And then, next year we'll be betting them every week. So 8.5, 43. The Giants suck. Again, I don't know what you do with it. Will they protect Penix or let him play like he did at Washington? This we'll see. So it's a little bit tentative how the coach is smart enough to play him, or maybe they should get the beer from Oklahoma to coach or from Alabama to be the coach. I think Atlanta wins the game. Penix won't hurt you. No picks. Probably 2 or 3 touchdowns. So I think Atlanta there. Cincinnati 8.5, 46.5 to Cleveland. Burrow against Thompson Robinson's the starter. Cleveland's the Z team with the 26 defense. Cincinnati, the over team with the 28 defense. Cincinnati play against 12-2, and they're not that good at a home favorite either, but Cleveland stinks. Weather won't be an issue, so it's Burrow and Chase. Cleveland with the 26 defense, and they don't score. I don't know what Thompson Robinson's going to do. So we will see. Hey, G. What a sweat last night. Yeah, I mean, I saw the final 27-17 last night. G's got the college, so we had Indiana. And I thought, oh, okay, well, that was a good game. And then I didn't realize in the last 2 minutes we got Indiana scored 2 touchdowns. So I got to watch the tape. But, yeah, I don't know why Indiana waits till the last 2 minutes to score. They were down 27-3. And we're getting 13.5. So that's one of the reasons we take the dog in Indiana. But anyway, let's see what happens today. But I like the 3. I love the lock today, and then the pros. So we will see. Anyway, Cincinnati's kind of out of the playoffs. They can win all 3, but if Baltimore doesn't lose all 3, it doesn't matter. So I don't think they're going to be in the playoffs, but they'll play. The Lions 6.5, 47.5. That line hasn't moved. Let's check the weather here. See here, it's got partly cloudy and 31 with strong winds, 15, 16, 17 miles an hour. So that really helps Detroit because with the secondary injured, with the injuries to the secondary, Caleb really can't take advantage of that. So if they have to run the ball, that's playing into Detroit's hands. And then Detroit can run, and I'm sure they'll have some passes. And again, the stadium blocks some of the wind. So we will see. Detroit in a must-win. And their whole seasons to get the 1 seed. They're now tied with Philly and Minnesota, and they play Minnesota at the end of the year. The Bears are just pathetic. The coach, you fired the coach, and now the new coach he doesn't know what he's doing. They just made him the offensive coordinator, and a week later he's the head coach. This guy's in way over his head. Minnesota killed him. Will the win? It'll be a windy day, but just a little bit more running and a little bit more short passing, I guess. But we will see. Detroit will probably just keep it open and do what they do. And usually they're very tough after a loss. So we will see. Indiana, 3.5, 42.5 to Tennessee. No weather because it's in a dome. 3.5, 42.5. Tennessee's the Z team. Wait, let me talk. So Detroit's an A team with the 20 defense and golf. 10-1 is a road favorite. The Bears are an under team with the 21 defense and Caleb. It's just he's terrible. The Lions, I'm sure, will just pressure the whole game because he's not going to be able to really, in the wind, throw it. And even if he can't. He's not good at picking up defense. He can't read defenses. So That's what you got there. Tennessee and Indy, 3.5, 42.5 for Indy. Tennessee is Z team, 27 defense. Everybody thinks Tennessee's defense is good. Not since Mike Vrabel left. They got an offensive coach who doesn't know how to coach offense or defense. Mason Rudolph is the quarterback, not Levis. Z team, 27 defense. Indy is an under team with the 24 defense. So Richardson doesn't put up points. He runs around a little bit, but he doesn't put up points. Let's see. Play against Tennessee is 12-2. Play against Indy is 26-5. Play against Indy is 14-0. So this year, if you bet against Indy, you've won every game. And if you, in the last 2 years, it's 26-5. So that was 12-5 last year, or 13. 12-5. Tennessee's no picnic either. Play against them 12-2. So you got a bunch of bad teams playing each other. I don't know why they think Richardson's any good. I don't really get what they look at versus what I look at. I don't know. It's hard. I mean, can you trust Indy? Can you trust Tennessee as a dog? Can you trust, the line says to take Tennessee because Indy's 14-0 against. So Indy probably wins the game by 3 or something like that. Hard to bet Tennessee with the 27 defense against Richardson, and hopefully Taylor doesn't drop the ball at the goal line again. I couldn't believe when I saw that. All right. Carolina, Arizona, 4.5, 47. Murray against Steve Young. Arizona, an under team with the 22 defense. Carolina, still a Z team with the 30 defense. Young doesn't do anything. He had a few decent games that were close against KC and Philly, who didn't care. You got to understand, Philly's getting up for Baltimore and Pittsburgh, Washington this week, but they get Carolina on their schedule. They don't care. It's like, oh, we'll beat them. They don't, they let down a little bit because that's human nature. So did they win any of the games? No. Who'd they beat? The Giants and New Orleans. So Arizona in a must-win. They're a game back of Seattle, which could lose to Minnesota, and the Rams, who should beat the Jets's. Play against Carolina as a home dog, 12-2. Play against Carolina, 26-5. Arizona's no picnic. They're not a good trend team, not a good teaser team. They're better on the road than they are at home. Let's put it that way. Philly, Washington. Philly, 3.5 and 46. Hurts against Daniels. Daniels was much better. Philly, the 18 with a killer defense. The defense is getting better and better. 18. They shut down Baltimore, shut down Pitt. Washington's a B team with a 23 defense, who, they're still a year away. Daniels is great, but they need help on defense and maybe a running back. So Philly's much better than Washington. I thought this spread should be 7. I'm shocked it's 3.5. Philly's 11-3 in a teaser. Washington 12-2, and Washington was like 2-12 last year. So it shows the difference of a good quarterback. Philly needs it for the 1 seed. Washington's trying to stay alive. They're okay in the wild card, but they need a win or two because now they're 9-5 or 9-6. I think they're 9-6, but all of a sudden you got teams at 8-6 like the Rams in Seattle, and Tampa's there, but Tampa's going to win their division. So all of a sudden they got heat, but this isn't the game to bet Washington. You want them against a weaker team. So maybe next week we'll play Washington, but not fucking around against Philly. The Rams and the JETSs. Rams 3, 46.5. The weather is not bad. Sunny and 30. Stafford's played in that in Detroit when he played Chicago and Green Bay outdoors, so he's not going to have a problem with it. Aaron Rodgers played in Green Bay. He's not going to have it. And it's not even really that cold. Be like 30. 3 and 46. The Rams are an over team, 24 defense. The JETSs are an under team, but they're really the last few with Devontae Adams scoring as they did last week in Jacksonville. 23 defense. The Rams, I got 5-0. They're 5-0 as a road favorite, as they are now. They're 26-6 against the line the last 2 years, and played against the Jets 13-1 this year. So it goes to the Rams. They're the better team. They need the game. They're playing for first place in the West. Seattle's got their hands full with Minnie. It is East Coast. That's going to be a problem. The weather shouldn't be too much, so we will see. They're a different team, though. It's harder to read. The defense is still at 24, but with Puka and Cooper Kupp, they're a over team, and when they're hurt, he just doesn't have the weapons. So, as you can see with Puka and Cooper Kupp, they're scoring a lot more. Except for the Niner game was, I think, in a rainstorm, but against Buffalo, they put up 44 points. Unbelievable. Minnesota 3, 42.5. I'm hoping for a 2.5 in this game, but I haven't. It's 3.5 and 3. It started at 4.5, went down to 3. Minnie's an A team with an 18 defense. Very good defense. Seattle's an under team. Geno Smith, this is terrible. 22 defense. They're getting better defense. Their coach is a defensive coordinator or defensive coach. Minnesota's great defense. Darnold against Smith. Minnesota, as we know, is the king. 28-3 in a teaser the last 2 years. This year, they're only 13-1 in the teaser. They're also 9-1 as a road favorite, and play against Seattle is a home dog, 6-0. Seattle is a terrible home team, even though you think they are. That's way back with Richard Sherman and Russell Wilson when they dominated at home. They don't dominate at home. They're very weak at home. Minnesota, as you can see, 9-1 is a road favorite, and just 28-3. Now the rain hurts a little bit, and the line laying 3. I was hoping to get them as a dog, being the game in Seattle. Geno Smith back, but Minnie's laying the 3 here. So let's see if we can get a 2.5 and jump on Minnesota. Buffalo 14, 46.5 to New England. W team for New England, 24 defense, and it's really been terrible the last few weeks. And Drake May, who's actually scoring, he's like 10 touchdowns and 7 picks. So he's actually getting touchdowns. He's not a good quarterback, but he's getting touchdowns, and he likes to run a little. Buffalo is the A team with the 22 defense, even though it didn't look like a 22 defense the last 2 games. And Josh Allen, they are 13-1 in a teaser this year because they did cover against the Rams at the end, and they beat the Lions as a dog. So 13-1 in a teaser. But you got 14. You're laying 14, and it's going to be 10 degrees out. So these are the problems. Now they're both used to cold weather. Buffalo at home shouldn't be a problem. It's just you're laying a lot of points, 14. So be careful on that one. Oakland, Jacksonville. Oakland is now up to 2. Oh, look at the sharps betting on Oakland in 40.5. That's up from 39.5. Now it's, I guess, O'Connell, not Riddler, will be the quarterback. I don't know why they're rushing him, and he sucks anyway. So does Riddler. Riddler's better than O'Connell. Going against Mac Jones. So Jacksonville, a Z team with a 27 defense, terrible defense. Oakland's a Z team with the 28 defense, and Crosby's out. So you've lost Devontae Adams. You got Crosby out. All you got is O'Connell throwing to Brock Bowers, who should be the offensive rookie of the year. Maybe Knicks, maybe Penix will play hot the 4 games and they'll make him the MVP. But Oakland, 7-1 is a home dog. 7-1 play against is a home dog. I'm not sure if there's a trend. I got play against the Jets 13-1, but I think it's also play against Jacksonville 13-1. I mean, what do you do with this game? It's two pathetics. I mean, can you trust Jacksonville as a road dog? You can't trust Oakland as a home favorite with this. Would any score surprise you? Jacksonville winning 21-3, Oakland winning 21-3. Neither you'd go like, yeah, okay. Do you go total? Two terrible defenses. O'Connell stinks. Mac Jones, okay, he got some points last week. Who did Jacksonville? Yeah, they played the JETSs, who are a mess. So, yeah, it's hard to say. Probably over. It's 40. You go to 34, I guess. But, I mean, I haven't played this game. It's a scratch. It's like Southern Miss playing New Mexico State. It's like, what do you do with it? All right, Miami is 1. You can get a 1.5 at FanDuel, 44.5 to the Niners. Purdy against Tag. Frisco is an under team with a 23 defense. Miami's an under team with the 23 defense. How can Tagliabue be an under team? Because he sucks. Look out for the injuries. Both Waddle and Hill are injured, but they're both questionable. No trends on these. Miami's a decent home favorite. The Niners should kill them if they had anybody. Now, let's see if Boza and Greenlaw are playing. Boza played. They both played against the Rams last week. The Niners, so many injured. But none of them are out. Greenlaw is injured at Achilles, but he played. Boza is injured a hip, but he played. So I'm not getting really. These are December 18th. It's already the 21st. Tagliabue injured hip. Tyreek Hill injured wrist. Well, he's had the injured wrist the whole year. Waddle injured knee. And that's it. So we almost got to go to the other injured. So on Yahoo, sometimes it's a little bit more updated, the injuries. So let's go the Niners, Miami. Trent Williams is out. Nick Bosa questionable with the hip. Guerrero, the new running back's out with the foot, so he got out for a game. Greenlaw is questionable with his Achilles, probably on a pitch count. It doesn't even say that McCaffrey's out, which we know. Miami, Blake Ferguson, LS. What's an LS? Left safety? He's out with rest. What the fuck is that? This is as of yesterday. Waddle, doubtful with the knee. It doesn't have Tagliabue. Tyreek Hill, questionable with the wrist. He's been playing. So not really much there. All right. All right. Tampa, Dallas. Tampa is 448.5 to Dallas. These numbers really haven't moved. Tampa, an over team with the 24 defense. Baker's been on fire lately. And Dallas is an E team with Cooper Rush, 27 defense, but he's been lighting it up. They went to Washington. He put up 35 last week, 30, I think 30 or 34 to Carolina. That was our lock. 30 to 14. He's putting up points. Why do they play Dak Prescott when they got this guy who lights it up? I don't know. It's shocking to me. The better quarterback sitting on the bench. You're losing with Prescott, and Rush comes in, and boom, 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 you start winning games. Wouldn't surprise me if they win this game. Tampa Bay 28-5 in a teaser, 12-2 this year. Play against Dallas as a home dog, but that's with Dak, not with Rush. Although he did lose to Cincinnati. So Tampa needs the game for their division. Dallas is, I think, pretty much out of it. They can, I think, catch Washington because they did beat Washington is their only hope. They got to win out. Washington's got to lose out. Washington does play Philly, and Dallas has to win this game. But again, the defense with Micah Parsons, I don't get a 27. Now, I know he's missed a little bit, but that's crazy. And our last game is New Orleans, Green Bay. Green Bay, 14, 42.5. New Orleans is an under team. With Carr, they're an E. Without, they're an under. They don't score. 22 defense. Rattler, I think, will start. Doesn't matter. They started Hayner last week, and Rattler came in right away. I think second quarter, or for sure the second half. So it's either way. It'll be Rattler, Hayner against Green Bay. Green Bay, a B team, 21 defense, and Love, who's okay. He had the groin injury, and it led to some interceptions. He's been playing okay the last few weeks. They dominated Seattle at Seattle last week. They are also 28-5 in a teaser the last 2 years, 13-1 this year, 7-1 as a home favorite. So in teaser trends, you've got in Green Bay must win. They can't catch Detroit, Minnesota. They're 11-2, and I think are they a game back or 2 games back? They play Minnesota next week. They're done with Detroit. So 7-1, so 28-5 overall. But again, this is like Buffalo. They're laying 14. They'll probably kill them, but it's just a high number you got to be concerned about because you got to lay 8, which is not good. It's just like the Buffalo game. So this is kind of treated the same as the Buffalo game. With Rattler in there, was he going to run around like a chicken with his head cut off? Green Bay's been playing well defensively. So that's what you have. So in teaser world, let's see. First game, Denver was 13-1 in the teaser, and they were both 25-6, Denver and San Diego, and the game ended 7. So a teaser wins. Houston 12-2, play against 12-2 against KC today. Pitt 12-2 in a teaser. Play against the Giants 12-2 in a teaser. Buffalo 13-1 in a teaser. Play against Cincinnati this year 12-2. We'll see what Thompson Robinson does. Detroit 10-1 is the road favorite. A couple of losses, the Tampa loss and the Buffalo loss, hurting their trends. I think they're everybody's 13-1 or 12-2. I think they're like 11-3 or maybe 12-2 in a teaser. They've been covering as teasers. Play against Indiana, 26-5. Play against Indiana this year, 14-0. Play against Tennessee this year, 12-2. So it tells me Indy's not a very good team if they're 14-0 against, because good teams do win. 12-2 play against Carolina as a home dog, and play against Carolina overall 26-5. Washington 12-2 in a teaser. Philly 11-3. The Rams 26-6 in a teaser the last 2 years. Play against the Jets 13-1. Minnesota 28-3. They're the Kings in a teaser. 13-1 this year. 9-1 is a road favorite. Tampa Bay 28-5 in a teaser. 12-2 this year. And Green Bay 28-5 in a teaser. 13-1 this year. But you got to be careful once they go to 14 points. That's a very hard in the NFL to cover that. Laying 8 is a very dangerous play. Now, if these were 5 and 6s, these would be locks all over the place. But I've kind of stayed away from Buffalo and Green Bay in a teaser because of the spreads being so high. Buffalo, cold weather. It's Buffalo. I'm not worried about it. Green Bay also, but it won't be that cold. But they're Green Bay, so you can't really worry about it. So that's pros. So we got KC and Houston today, Pitt and Baltimore today, and then they cross over and they play Christmas Day on Wednesday, which is absurd. You got to be very careful. They are not used to playing Wednesday nights, more or less Thursday nights. So the Saturday's bad enough, but then when you add the Wednesday into it, you got problems. So I think it goes Baltimore, Houston, and Pitt, KC. So they switch partners on Wednesday. Now that is on Netflix. So these games must be on normal TV. That's why the college playoff is not, which is really strange. And we will see. So this is week 16. We have 3 weeks left of pro, and then we got the playoffs. As I've stated, $200 gets you all the college playoff and bowl games and all the NFL through the end of the year. So it's a pretty big savings. And then you get everything. So whatever you guys want to do, it's just out there. It's a special. It's not really listed. So just buy the pro 4 weeks for $200. I had to change the college to the bowls. The bowls are $100 for all the bowls. Add playoffs. You have classes. The college class is $50 because it's all the playoffs. It's multiple weeks, and the pro class is still $25. So it's not as many people signing up for the classes as I would have anticipated. Again, I'm trying to find my market if people want the class, because I'm not giving picks here like I used to. So I got how many locks this week? I've got 1 lock, 2 locks, 3 locks, 4 locks. I got 4 locks going. I almost had 5. And I almost had 6. I almost had 6 locks. I ended up with 4. The quarterback changes affected playing a game versus locking the game. We will see. But that's what we've got so far. And we'll see Penix and Thompson Robinson. We know what Rudolph's about. We know what Caleb's about. He sucks. We got O'Connell playing and Geno Smith playing. And I guess Rattler playing. It doesn't matter if he's starting or not. He'll be in there. Or Hayner. Hayner's better, but we'll see. So that's what we got. That's the pros. Again, 4 locks, 1 lock in college today. So that's 5 locks going this weekend. I got Daria saying hello. So 5 locks going this weekend, 1 today. And we will see. So definitely a good week. The we'll see this playoffs as Ron said. Well, at least we know everybody's going to be playing. Well, that isn't even true because 4 or 5 of the Ohio State players are portaling, and I think some Tennessee, but they're not good players. They're just third stringers. And that's the problem with the portal. So a third stringer from Ohio State goes and transfers. What are you really getting? It's like the quarterback last year for Ohio State went to Syracuse. What did you really get? Um, so it did work for Gabriel. I don't know why he left Oklahoma. Was it a pay issue or what? But he left Oklahoma and went to Oregon, and that's working out pretty well. But he was a good quarterback, so it's surprising. That's the problem with it. When a guy like that leaves and goes to Oregon, uh, that really doesn't make any sense. So anyway, that's that. Let's take a look at gold. There was something I wanted to talk about. I'm gonna jar my memory. So gold ended at 26.23 and silver 29.49. I am running to the gold store right after this. It's open till I think 3 o'clock today. It's only 11:42. What can I say? It's all about the dollar going out, which is what people struggle with. As Egon keeps saying, once people realize that it's the dollar losing value, not the prices going up, that's when everybody dumps the dollar. That's why when I get your generous payments of the picks, I put it into my bank, go to the bank, take it out, and go to the gold store. So I become Rumpelstiltskin every Monday as I turn the money into gold because I don't want to be trapped with it. Oh yeah, there's one on the banks that I'm going to show you a video. All these banks are about to go out. Why? Well, I've explained banking to you, but I can do it again. So how does a bank make revenue? We give them money to so we get our paycheck and we're savings. So we might have, let's say, 25,000 and we put it in the bank for maybe to get interest, and maybe because we don't want it under our mattress, we feel it's safe there. So we got 25 grand in the bank. We give it to them to get interest, even though the interest is taxed and the inflation eats the interest. So it's a net loss. But we give it to them. But how does the bank make money? Well, they loan it out. So the bank's problem now is they've loaned it out to people to buy houses and cars, and there's a big loan out to buildings, to corporations for two things. One, to run their operations. They give them a line of credit and says, well, we'll give you, it's Microsoft will give you a $10 million line of credit because Microsoft might have timing issues or whatever, or they're building something in India, so they need money to build it or whatever. So they'll loan money to the banks as a line of credit to cover payroll, payables, things like that. Or they'll loan money to the like the Empire State Building. So you build a big building. Well, obviously you need money, so you borrow money on a commercial loan. That's what I was looking for. But what's happening is after COVID, people working from home and the internet, there's less people having stores in these buildings. Well, the buildings, how does a building work? So I'm going to go build a building, whatever, $10 million, and I'll make a strip mall or I'll make a building out of it. You see these 5-6 story buildings. Well, I gotta pay it off, right? So it's sort of like renting out your house. You built the house, but you built it as an Airbnb. You really are like Bobby wants to do. I'm going to rent out my house for so I can make money, right? So I think well, the house cost me $300,000. My mortgage is $2,000 a month, and I'm going to rent it out and get $2,500 a month, which will help on property taxes. And so I'll do that. So I'll make money doing that. Okay. Well, what happens when you don't have anybody coming and renting it out? You're fucked, because you got to still pay the mortgage and the property taxes, but you're not getting money in. So let's take this to business and the consumers of the big buildings. So let's take the Empire State Building in New York. So they paid billions of dollars, whatever, and they have all these tenants who are going to pay them rent. Well, what happens? Here comes the internet, and people aren't going into the stores. Nobody's buying flowers. The people aren't working there. The delis are hurt. The shops are hurt. So all these shops that thought, well, we have all these customers from all the people working, are now working from home, or they're on the internet and they're not coming into the stores, but they still owe rent to the owner of the Empire State Building. Well, what are they going to do? They're closing up. They're going, sorry, we're breaking the lease. We're going out. Okay. What is the owner of the Empire State Building, who's relying on the rents from all these businesses to pay him? What are they doing? They're not getting paid. Well, what do they do with JP Morgan, who they borrowed the money from to build it based on, we'll have all these tenants, and the tenants will have all these customers. And so now what's happening is all the tenants are going out because people are shopping online. So nobody's coming to the stores. They're out. The guy who owns the building now is fucked because he's not getting any rent. Again, he's trying to rent the stores out, and the stores are trying to sell to the public. So without the public, the stores go out. The guy can't get the rents. He doesn't have the money. And so he defaults on JP Morgan, Chase, Wells Fargo. Sorry, guys, I can't pay you back the consumer loan. But what does the bank do? That's how the bank makes money. They loan out the money that they got out of thin air, because you gave them 25,000, but they loaned out 150,000 with your 25,000. But they loaned it out to get the interest back. So they're trying to get the payments back, which are at, let's say, 8%. So they're thinking, well, we'll loan the money out and get 8% in. But it only works if they can pay me back. And that's where most of these crises come from. The housing crisis was you loaned out money for people to buy houses, and then they couldn't afford it when the adjustable rate mortgages went up 2%. They couldn't afford it, and then the banks go out because that's their income, is the income's coming in from the houses, right? People paying the rent. So when I pay my rent here, then they're okay because they're making money on my rent. But if I move out or can't pay it, then they still owe the money for the building. So as these businesses are going out, the consumer loans to the people that own the buildings or the strip malls, they're not getting in. So the bank has no revenue coming in. But you know what? You still owe me interest on my 25 grand. You still owe me 3 or 4%, whatever you're giving me. And plus you're competing with me pulling my money out to buy gold or putting my money into stocks. So I don't even know how much money you have there because of the competition, but you owe me interest. But the money that you're supposed to get in, the 8% on the loans for the real estate, you're not getting in. So how do you pay me? You can't. You're fucked. And all these banks are in the same situation because that's the only way they get income is to loan the money out for buildings or houses or cars, and they must rely on these people to pay them back. And the people aren't paying them back because of the internet. Mostly everybody's shopping online, or you might go to Target or Costco or Sam's Club, and you're buying everything there. So you don't need the stores in the buildings. You see all these strip malls going out. Uh, you see restaurants going out, Burger King. So you're starting to see that. And then with inflation, which is printing the money to zero and the value of the money goes to zero. I don't know why this is so hard for people to understand. They'll say the money's losing purchasing power, but they can't understand that's the inflation. I've never seen anything how stupid half these guys are. Well, I don't know what inflation is, but it's the purchasing power of the dollar going down. That's inflation, Peter Schiff. What a fucking idiot that guy is. So that's what's happening. So as the dollar loses value, it takes more dollars to buy the goods and services, which means you have less money to buy other things. So you can only buy tuna, but I can't buy tuna and chips, or, I can't buy Miracle Whip and tuna. So you end up buying less because you have less. You're not getting more paid. And as people are losing their job, it's also hurting. So that's really the point of it. So the banks are the ones loaning the money because that's how a bank works. They loan the money to pay off us and to make profit. Because how else does a bank make money? They don't really do anything. So they sell loans is how they make it. And then some of the money they actually put into the stock market as opposed to loaning it out because they feel there's less risk. Well, that's about to go too. So there's about 300 banks about to collapse in this situation where they've loaned out the money to consumers, commercial real estate and things like that. They can't pay it back because all the tenants are moving out. And this shit's going to hit the fan very soon. So be careful. So you own Bitcoin. How does Bitcoin work? Well, I'll sell it. Well, it's in dollars and I'll sell the Bitcoin, which means I sell the Bitcoin and it's like PayPal. Then it goes back into my bank and I can get the money. Is your bank going to be open to do that? Is your bank going to have the money to do that? So you're going to transfer money into the bank and you think it's going to be there. Well, the problem is the bank, a Wells Fargo, Chase, JP Morgan, who are losing billions of dollars on these commercial real estate that are going bad, are going to take your money and say, thank you, we need it. Because it's not your money in the bank, it's the bank's money. When you sign up, that's what you're saying, but you don't read the small print because who the fuck can read all this small print? So you're basically in the bank thinking you have money that you don't. So when I got paid Thursday. Yesterday, I'm in the bank pulling my paycheck saying, thank you, I'll take it. And then before the money goes to zero, I run and go buy gold and silver, which I'm going to do today. Nothing can happen to gold and silver because you can't print it, inflate it, or counterfeit it. Impossible. Because it's made out of gold. You can't counterfeit gold. You can't say, well, let's use this for gold. You can't because they measure it and they have machines that say how much gold's in this. And you can take a magnet up to the gold. And if it sticks, it's bullshit. So you just keep buying Eagles and Maple Leafs and Cougarans and the money's real. And the money that we have, we know this is worthless because they keep printing it and printing it. And now the banks are going out because the banks have all these real estate loans, which can't be paid back. Not only that, the regular loans that go out. Okay, G, have a nice day. Good luck today. So you have this also where they're not getting the money in, but the money is being inflated because as everything is crumbling, what is the Fed doing? They're printing more money. The banks are just trying to get the loans back, so they're really not doing more loans. Those are able and willing, so can actually pay back the loans they're struggling to find. And that's where we're at. People are losing their jobs. There's a lot of mergers and your finks are sitting there trying to steal money on ETFs for Bitcoin and all that crap. That's all a Ponzi scheme. If you try to ETF gold, there's no gold for you. You're not getting physical gold in an ETF. They might say it's tracking physical gold. It's like physical. It's not physical gold. So if you try to get an ETF and you go to Sprout and say, give me my gold, you ain't getting any gold. He doesn't have any. It's all a Ponzi scheme. ETFs are Ponzi schemes. You got gold stocks. What's good is that going to do? The stock market's going to crash, getting your money out again. The banks are in trouble like 2008. They've done bad loans and they'll try to recanter them. Like, in 2008, they said, like, attack on Wall Street. What do they do? Well, all this is no good. Forget this. This isn't going to, we're not, your value is worthless. So you want to be in that game? No. Do you want to be with Larry Fink? No. Bitcoin, what is it? It just dropped $10,000 from 106 to 96 or roughly the last week. I've even heard that if you do sell it, you're not even going to get, if it's like $95,000, you're not even going to get the 95,000. Then the only way to actually get the money is to transfer it into your bank, and then you get the money from your bank. Good luck getting that. Are you going to be able to get that? So this is why the banks are in trouble. And if you have your money in the bank, there's two problems. A, the money's not worth anything. And B, the bank ain't going to give you the money, because if they're not getting paid from the real estate loans they've given out, they're certainly not giving you your money back. We don't have it. And legally, we don't have to give it to you. Legally, it's our money. That's why you run in and get it out. So if you have any kind of money in there, you better get it. If you got 100 grand in there, good luck getting it out. You're not going to get it out. You're only going to get a portion. Then we have stock market about to crash. Now, mostly it's because people don't know what to do with their money. They might think the dollar's going out, so therefore they take their money out of they get out of money and they go into Bitcoin, gold, or stocks. But stocks are money, so that doesn't help you. Bitcoin's money doesn't help you, and gold helps you because you're not in dollars, you're in gold, and nobody can fuck you if you have the physical gold. That's why we talk about it. So you have that going on. Then you have the savior is going to be BRICS, because the U.S. has no gold. They'll say they have 8,000 tons. They don't have anything. All right. The U.S. has no gold. So that's where you're at with it. You've got to be very careful with it. So their money is basically worthless. But here comes BRICS, Russia, China, India, and mostly Saudi Arabia, a little South Africa, Brazil, who are buying up gold. All the central banks who want to join BRICS are buying up the gold. Well, why? Because they know the dollar's worthless, and they know gold you can't fuck with, and they want to have value in their dollars. Because if China tries to trade with India, both currencies are gone. I mean, they're worthless. You're going to want Indian rupees that are $1 buys you 88 rupees. Is that what you want? That's worthless there. So all these currencies are worthless. So why would you want to trade in that? The only thing to trade in is gold, because gold can't lose its value. It's very, very undervalued. And here's my point with Egon or Alligator is Mark McGuire. Alligator keeps saying it's not gold going up, it's the dollar going down. And no, it is gold going up, as any asset will, with demand. So it's like saying, well, it's not the value of the Mahomes card going up, it's the dollar going down. That's not true, because if more than 50 people want this card, the price does go up. The value goes up. How does he think that things get more expensive, that things get more valuable? A Rolex, a Picasso. How does he think these things gain in value? It's demand. But Alligator can't see that for the life of him, that it's always the dollar going down, not gold going up. And it's just total bullshit. They are so off, because if you have more demand than supply, which is what you have in gold now, because all the central banks are buying and all the jewelry, then of course the price goes up because of the demand. And when all the paper currencies collapse and everybody runs to gold, they're going to have to pay more. So of course the gold price goes up. Egon gets that. He's starting to say, yeah, it's based on demand, the price will go up. Because you can't, he says, because you can't make any more. So supply can't go up because it's dug out of the ground. But if demand goes up, price goes up. And that's what I keep saying. The biggest key to gold, why I preach what I preach as far as the price going up, is because of the price fixed by COMEX keeping the price down. That means its gold is not at its real price now. Right, 2,700, or what did I say, 26, 25 is not the real price of gold. We know that. And therefore, if it's not the real price, what is the real price? Much, much higher, because they're suppressing it with the derivatives. Because right now it's priced based on JP Morgan and the bullion banks doing derivatives and London to keep the price down because they don't have any gold. The US, London, Canada have this much gold. Now, they'll say, well, the U.S. has 8,000 tons in the central bank. We don't have it. It's not ours. It's Chinese. We've sold it to the Chinese. Once we sell it to them, it's gone. It's theirs. Now, how much is private? So in Russia and China, there's the central bank holding it. There's these private shadow banks that hold it. That's why China's got 60,000 tons, and that's why Russia's got 20,000 tons. It's not just the central banks have 2,000 or 3,000 tons. It's the private. It's Putin's swimming pool that has 20,000 tons, not the central banks, which these guys again miss. So how much do the private banks, the JP Morgans, the Wells Fargo, Goldman Sachs, how much do they have in gold? Probably nothing, because they are selling the gold. That's why they're the ones doing the derivatives. So the value of the gold is going to go to the moon, because not only has it been kept down, it's really not 26.50 or whatever now. It's much, much higher. Silver at $28. It's probably about 600-700 an ounce if they stop doing it, because of all the costs have gone up because of the inflation, which is inflating the money, meaning the value of the money is down, which means it takes more dollars to buy the goods and services. That's inflation, 501. If that's the case, then why isn't silver going to the moon? Why isn't gold going to the moon? If it takes more dollars to buy it, because JP Morgan and the boys are doing derivatives to keep the price down. So what's the real price? I say times them by 10 easily. So silver at least 750 an ounce. Gold at least, I'd say 20,000 an ounce. That's minimum. That's with all the price fixing for 50 years of demand, of 2008, of now, where the demand is huge for gold, because now people, and I think that's the case for Bitcoin, why is Bitcoin going up? Now, it's not mostly people, it's mostly the Sailor guy and Larry Fink and these guys buying $1 billion worth of Bitcoin, making the price go up. Because they think it's going to be money. But as we've said, Bitcoin cannot be money. A, it's not wanted, and B, nobody's buying and selling with it, right? People are accumulating it. So that's like, well, can we make baseball cards money or football cards money? No, because this isn't money. I can't take it to a restaurant and use it. Now, I could sporadically barter it for, like we saw in the movie with what was it, Sinbad, or the other guy who's like Sinbad, needed tires and had a Yao Ming rookie card that was worth a couple $1,000s, so he was able to trade it for tires. But normally it's not used. You can't go to a restaurant and try to pay for it. If I go to my barbecue place, I can use silver, but I can't use this. So because gold and silver are actual money, that's where the value comes in. So keep that in mind. You can't print it or inflate it. That's the other reason. So as people become more aware, they are getting into Bitcoin because they realize oh shit, the money's going out. I think more people than we think realize the money's worthless. I'll talk to 10 people, 5 realize it's worthless, and 5 have their heads in the ground. I was telling some lady at work the other day, and I said, because Bloomberg's on. So I'm saying, well, it's tough with the gold, and it's tough with the Keynesian versus Austrian schools of thought, where one's communist and one's free market. And she goes to me, this is way over my head. And she walked away, and I just laughed at her like, don't you want to learn? I don't understand when people have a chance to learn something and they choose not to. It's pretty funny. So that's what's happening with these banks. They're all going out. And the problem most people have, like Luke's friend, is they have all their money in a 401k. So I got $500,000, $1 million, $2 million in my 401k. And I don't want to sell it because if I do, I'm going to have to pay tax on it. So instead, they're going to watch it go to zero because it's in stocks, it's in US dollars. What's the value of the stock going to be when the dollar goes to zero? And that's going to be zero. So people don't understand that, and they should be selling it and getting into gold and paying the tax. I'd rather pay a little tax and get into gold than keep it in dollars where it's going to be worthless. So this is the big problem. A lot of people are trapped in the 401k, and they're 40, 50 years old, and they're not old enough to start pulling it, and they get penalized. So they go, well, it's better off there. People don't understand that the dollar's just about gone. It's just about zero. People don't understand that. They won't understand it. They refuse to understand it. And a lot of it is they haven't been taught. So in school, they're not teaching you about finance and Austrian economics. If anything, 10th, 11th grade, they teach you Keynesian economics with all these charts and graphs and these strange words that you just go, what the fuck are you talking about? And that's the biggest problem. So with that said, that's what's happening. But everybody, it's BRICS with the gold-backed currency, which is the winner, because you can't print gold. You can't inflate gold. Every government since the beginning of time, starting with the Romans, have inflated their money supply. They've taken the gold, and the Romans took the gold and silver out of the coins. Once money's come out, they've always printed the money. And when prices, see, the problem is, so prices go up, so they print more money because they don't connect the dots. They don't realize prices are going up because you're printing the money. So as you ruin the money by printing it, the prices go up. So you print more to pay for the higher prices, which makes the prices go higher. That's what they're doing in Venezuela and Zimbabwe and Germany, the Reichsmarks, and Greece recently, and Brazil and Argentina now, Venezuela, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, and now it's coming to China and India and Japan and the UK, France, Germany. They're all going out. They're all going bankrupt. And their key is, well, we'll just print more money. And they don't realize that makes the money worth even less. So the U.S. with 36 trillion in debt can't print their way out because it's worthless. So it'll make it even worth less. Plus, the people who have the debt don't want U.S. dollars. They don't want the print. You print me 36 trillion. They don't want it. The Chinese, the Japanese, they're the ones buying your debt. They don't want U.S. dollars. They want things. And I think that's what these wars are about. They're never about what you think they are. They're always about money, gold, oil. And so I think that's what Russia's about is the gold and the dollar going out. They don't want the weak dollar. They want gold. China doesn't want the dollar. They don't want to sell to us. And Saudi Arabia doesn't want dollars for their oil. They want real money, gold. And as you can see, there's no more petrodollar because they said, we don't want dollars for our oil because the dollars are worthless. So they're smart enough to understand it. So eventually the people will start to understand it's the dollar that's worthless, and therefore let's go buy gold. And because you can't print it, you can't inflate it. So I will leave you with that as I see it's 12 o'clock and some games are about to kick off. I do have some videos that I'll share with you. Mark McGuire, Alligator was on Mark McGuire. He actually was a little different than he is on other interviews. He was more to what Mark McGuire talks about. So he did say the inflation and bricks and everything. So he kind of changed his tune on here a little bit. So now he does think bricks will have gold and all this. So again, he keeps thinking it's the dollar going down, not gold going up, which he's 100% wrong. And and then he does, I don't know what he said about banks, but I watched it a little bit yesterday. I'll watch it again today. So when I'm sometimes I'm watching football and I'll have the YouTube on my phone watching that and kind of keeping an eye on the game. Anyway, we got SMU Penn State and we got Kansas City playing Houston with Mahomes. I think that starts at 1. So we've got 1 o'clock Houston KC. It's only 12, and then 4:30 Baltimore Pittsburgh. So that's okay. Yeah, and Houston's on NBC, and then Baltimore Pittsburgh's on Fox. Okay, that's why these bowl games are not or college playoffs aren't on TV until tonight. Ohio State Tennessee is on ABC, but they're on TNT now. Now I don't know why they couldn't have been on CBS. I guess they won't compete with each other. So that's what you have going on. All right. So Daria's off shopping. Everything with her she's much better. That's it. I had problems with my computer yesterday. That's why I didn't come on. Not mine, but my work computer was really. There's 2 levels of help I needed or to sign on. But normally when I'm at my desk, it bypasses the second because I'm on a corporate thing. Here I'm on my own internet, and I needed to get this authenticator going, which I probably could have used, but I didn't know how to use it. It gives me a number, and you're supposed to hit something that takes you to where you can type the number, and I didn't know that. So I had to go back. I went into work twice yesterday, and then finally got home. And anyway, so one more day of work. Monday I will be home, and then I'm off till January 2nd. So we'll see. I don't know about going. I thought about going to Vegas. Maybe I'll see. But I know I'm going to go to Russia when the war ends. So I'm kind of that. And I'm still paying off Italy with Jenna. And then I got some gold on my credit card. So I basically chose to have the gold. And then if I need to, I can sell the gold to pay the credit card off. I was thinking about that in the pool. So it's kind of like a trade where I've traded, like I say, all you're doing is you're trading this for the gold and silver. You haven't spent a dime. So when I go to the gold store now and I go buy an ounce of gold for $27.50, I haven't spent a dime. I simply traded worthless dollars that are going to zero for a ounce of gold, which is real money going up. So it's actually a very intelligent trade, much better than Bitcoin because Bitcoin's so overvalued. And gold, the key with gold is it's so undervalued because of these derivatives keeping the price down. I know I'm getting a more expensive gold than what they're selling it for. And then your question is, well, when are they going to stop doing the derivatives? and when they're going to let the price go up. And that's what BRICS is. BRICS is the antichrist, as you would, where they're actually coming out with a physical gold market, and they're going to start making the gold get to a real value, because they can't. There's too many citizens in China and India and Russia to come out with the gold-backed currency, which will basically be, this will be gold-backed. This will be gold-backed, right? So now it'll be a 5 gold-backed euro, but they can't do it with gold at 2,700. They need a much higher price because they can't print they can't print enough dollars to 2,700. And then when everybody avalanches in, like the Titanic, when they realize the boat's actually going to sink and they all frenzy into get on the lifeboat. Well, once they realize all the dollars in all countries are worthless, they're all going to start trying to get to the lifeboat of gold, and there's not enough gold, and that's really going to force the price up. So the question of is, well, when's it going to happen? And it's not an exact date. When do people realize they're all getting fucked over? I don't know. People stay in marriages when the spouse is cheating on them. How long do they stay in the marriage? Or the wife might be getting beaten. Instead of leaving, she stays in the marriage because she needs the money, and the guy takes care of her but beats her. I mean, so there's always, when do they realize it, and then when do they do something with it? And to get that date, I mean, there's no date, but it's coming soon, sooner than later, because of just rising prices and bad economy. Trump with these tariffs will be terrible, because anytime you raise prices, he's raising cost, which is going to raise prices. Because if we're buying things cheaper from China and then he throws a tariff on it, he makes the price go up. So if we're buying tennis shoes for $20 and it's a tariff and now it costs 40, well, we're the ones who got to pay the 40. So where are we getting the extra 20 from? That's the problem with Trump's tariffs. That's what caused the collapse and the depression in 1929. So that's what you have going for it. So anyway, good luck. 5 locks this weekend. 1 in college, 4 in the pros. No locks today in the pros. Tomorrow, yes. And that's it. So be good. I've been red hot. Hopefully I continue. 29-2 the last 3 weeks. 20-0 the last 2 weeks. So we will see. I get like this and I just roll. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, off to buy gold, off to swim. First I'm going to eat, and then we'll go. So again, I'm not eating, haven't eaten yet. It's 12:18. I will start eating. All right, everybody. Have a good day. www.teaserking.com. Enjoy your games. This first game, I have played the SMU Penn State over. I was going to play it again, but I see the wind, so I'm a little bit leery of. I don't know how much the wind is going to affect and how much it doesn't. 15-mile-an-hour winds, but there's a stadium, so the wind hits the stadium. It doesn't necessarily react the ball. So how much does that do? I don't know. But if it's a real windy, if it's a flat stadium, real windy, it's going to affect it more. Like the Buckeyes, it's not encircled, it's 3/4, it's a horseshoe. So there is an open side. If the wind comes in, it's going to come in there. Anyways, keep your eyes. Who needs it for the playoffs, college playoffs? Also, the NFL, who wants it for the 1 seed, basically. So that's what you have going. Who needs the games? And are they capable of winning is really the key. So anyway, go buy your gold and silver. It's a nice Christmas gift. Beats a Barbie or a toy or something like that. All right, www.teaserking.com. You can still get all the pro locks. The pro games haven't started yet. 4 locks tomorrow. And the college 1 lock today. And then we'll reset for the next round of playoffs. And we'll go from there. All right. Have a good day, everybody. Good luck. Relax. Enjoy. And www.teaserking.com. Buy your gold and silver. Take care.